Europe captured by Germany. Those red lines show us from which European country there were prisoners in Stutthof. 23 countries, 25 nations. Even from neutral countries, Spain, Switzerland, Sweden, Turkey also, because the Germans did not respect the international conventions, or they pretended that they do, and yet they didn't. That's why from neutral countries also prisoners in Stutthof. They did not tattoo numbers in Stutthof. They were marking them with such a symbol, a piece of material in the shape of a triangle and the capital letter printed on it. P for a Polish prisoner. Jews were marked with Star of David and letter J, Jude. Russians, Latvians. This is how they were marking them. But they couldn't over there. German prisoners had no symbol on that triangle. And yet there were also quite a few German prisoners here. They would say if a German gets himself to a prison, to a concentration camp, he's not fit to be called a German anymore. Also, this is important, what you can see there. This is what they would stamp in the documents in the Gestapo barrack. NN, in German language, Nacht und Nebel, night and fog. There was a man, there is no man. They were killing them secretly. That's why, many years after the war, up till today really, nobody knows what happened with some prisoners. They were killing them secretly. Some of them were not enlisted. That's why mainly those who were caught in the underground actions had such a symbol in the document. Those faces there show us how prisoners looked when they were entering the camp.
Sorry.
Normal people like you, like me, but take a look over there. A few months in Stutthof, and many of them ended like that. Please, let's walk towards that map. Map of Europe. Those red squares show us where concentration camps existed in Europe, many of them. And yet, not many people know today that in the time of the Second World War, the Germans had over 9,000 camps in Europe. All sorts of camps. 20 million people were locked in German camps. I was one of them. Only 14 at that time, not here in Germany. 20 million people in German camps. 11 million did not survive, died. Those statistics can tell you about the methods of treatment. Hard work, bad treatment, not too much to eat. That's why they had to die very quickly. That number there is important. One of the prisoners already received such a number. This is a proof that at least 110,000 people were prisoners in Stutthof. We know today that quite a few more, about 3,000 to 5,000 more. Some prisoners were not enlisted. And of course, as I said before, we don't have the complete evidence of the former camp. Some documents were destroyed, so we don't know really how many more.
Where were you born? Where were you born?
In the eastern part of Poland, Volhynian district, close to town Dubno, in a village. Please come. This is where the couple would stand and the blood Führer. The place where the couple would stand and the blood Führer, and checking the evidence in the morning when they were taking them out, and then again when they brought them back.
Okay.
Up till 1942, the barracks were divided into such rooms, because women and men were kept in the same camp. No beds at that time, some straw on the floor and half a blanket to cover yourself at night. The problem was that those barracks were overcrowded all the time. They should have kept 220 in one barrack. They kept over 500. When they were lying down in 4 rows on the passage by the door there, 40 centimeters as an average for one prisoner on the floor. No chance to scratch yourself, no chance to change position. Suffering also at night when they were supposed to rest. That's why it was so bad. This is in Polish language, but this is a proof that most of those who were prisoners here, they were the intelligence. A group of Polish teachers from gymnasium in Kwidzyn with their director. He survived. I met him after the war in Germany. Wonderful man. This is already concentration camp. But also here, 2 prisoners to 1 bed. In Jewish section, 4. 4 grown-up women had to sleep on 1 bed. I did find out how they slept. I met 2 Jewish women who survived Stutthof here. They explained to me they slept sitting on the beds. 2 women on one end of the bed with their backs rested on those wooden poles, the other 2 in the same manner there. But in the middle there, not enough space for 4 pairs of legs. So one woman had to keep the legs on the legs of another woman. You cannot rest sitting like that in a bed. I had my 12 months on a bed like that. The moment when the light was switched off, you started to hear a noise. What was that noise? Bugs coming out from those different holes. You knew why they were coming to you. And yet there was nothing you could do about it. Get to sleep so that you don't think about it. In the summer, hardly enough air to breathe. In the winter again, 500 people breathing, the breath goes up to the ceiling, and the icy drops of water come down on those who sleep on top beds. One of the reasons why they had to die quickly, because of the methods. Please come. Showing us the different kind of plates, dishes, cups, mugs, used by prisoners when they were having their meals. What did they receive to eat? 3/4 of a liter of soup. That was the main meal for whole day. Those under 18, half a liter of soup. 2 slices of bread per day. Small piece of margarine added to that bread. Spoon of marmalade. Sometimes, not often. And half a liter of corn coffee without sugar in the morning, half a liter in the evening. That was all. It has been calculated that all the food a prisoner received in a daytime should have amounted to 1,800 calories. But those who were preparing the food were stealing some of it. As an average, the prisoner received 1,400 calories in all the food. Not enough for a 7-year-old child to live normally on it. That's why they look like that. Skin and bones for that fellow there. And yet, everyone had to work. Every hour of work would be registered. Sometimes they would just take the group, the commando as they named them, the group of workers, and say, you don't earn your living in Stutthof. How much did it cost to keep a prisoner in Stutthof? We know. 50 pfennigs per day. half a mark. But when the prisoner was taken to work for a bauer, for a farmer, the farmer had to pay 5 marks for 1 day's work of prisoner for him. But he would pay to the commandantur, not to the prisoner. So it was a golden business for them. Please come.
Whenever they were too weak to work, I guess they tried.
This is only the different kinds of employment. I want you to take a look at that map of Pomeranian district. There is Stutthof there. Those black spots on that map, the Stutthof sections, 19 of them were used by Jewish women. Most of the Jewish women were located there. When they brought them here in the 1944, so 19 sub-camps were specially prepared for Jewish women. The rest for other prisoners. There were many, over 40 such sub-camps existed. Some of them as far as Szczecin, far away from the main camp. But do notice where Stutthof is. No chance to escape. Baltic Sea, River Vistula lagoon there, surrounded with water. Even if you managed to escape from behind the wires, you could not go far, they would catch you. And the penalty for trying to escape, death by hanging, and they did not joke. Only here in Stutthof, we have in the document 573 executions, among others, also those who tried to escape. So this is how it would end for them. Especially the last months of the existence of Stutthof were the worst. When the Eastern Front was moving west, when they were liquidating those sections, they were just marching them and killing them on the road. Many graves of those who were killed in the last few weeks before the end of the war. But I'll come to that subject again. Please return to the camp hospital.
Were you ever here before?
Yeah, many times.
Knowing how badly they were treating the prisoners, one might wonder, why did they bother to have a hospital at all? As I said before to you, they pretended that they respect the international conventions. And according to international convention, a camp should have a hospital. Also here, 2 patients to 1 bed, paper mattresses filled with straw, 2 kinds of illness. One illness very common here, especially in the first years of the existence of Stutthof. They had to wear wooden boots, specially produced for prisoners. Leather boots and shoes were taken away before they entered them to the camp, because they were using the leather boots taken away from prisoners to repair soldiers' boots for Wehrmacht. That's why they had to wear the wooden boots, and those wooden boots were making wounds on the feet. Many prisoners, while doing the work, they had to stand in ground waters. Ground waters are very high here, full of metallic roots. This is how the infection would come through the wounds. So many of them had to die before, because they had to wear those boots. And of course, that is one illness common here. Then again, dysentery. Your stomach is empty, and yet you have to run to the toilet all the time. After 2 days, you are not strong enough to come out from the bed. You start doing it under yourself. Those mattresses were full of that dirt, and yet this was a hospital. We don't know what they were trying to prove here in the medicine experiments. We only know that some bodies of those who were killed here, died here, were taken to Gdańsk. Professor Spanner had a clinic in Gdańsk where he was making a use of a